Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this Christmas/holiday horror movie review video as part of my current December 2023 series. So today we're going to take a look at a movie that came out on Shudder last year. It's a movie that I've heard quite a bit about over the last year or so, but obviously watched it for the first time for this review, and that is the Shudder original Christmas Bloody Christmas, which I have here on DVD with a nice slipcover there. I like this; it's embossed it a little bit here, or whatever you call it, where like the letters are sticking out. I actually like this cover, a Shudder original from 2022. So yeah, Christmas Bloody Christmas. That's going to be the movie we take a look at today. So let me just grab my notes here. So, Christmas Bloody Christmas is a 2022 American Christmas themed horror film directed and written by Joe Bagos. It follows a robotic Santa Claus who goes on a killing spree on Christmas Eve. The film was released on December 9th, 2022, and received mixed reviews from critics. The film starts with vignettes that resemble the typical Christmas advertisements, along with a news flash regarding a robotic Santa that's been recalled because of certain malfunction that reverts it from its original programming from the U.S. Defense Department. Record store owner Tori closes up her store for Christmas Eve night with her employee Robbie. Robbie, who is attracted to Tori, convinces her out of meeting with a date from Tinder and going out drinking with him. The pair meet with their friends, Jay and Lana, who work at a nearby toy store that is equipped with one of the defective Santa Clauses. The group drinks and hangs out before Tori and Robbie leave to go to the bar. The robot Santa malfunctions and becomes a violent killing machine, murdering Jay and Lana while they are having sex. So that's the setup in the opening for Christmas Bloody Christmas. As far as the cast goes, we have Riley Dandy as Tori Toombs, Sam Delich as Robbie Reynolds, Jonah Ray as Jay, Dora Madison as Lana, and Jeff Daniel Phillips as Sheriff Monroe. So yeah, that's the setup, the premise, and the cast for the 2022 film Christmas Bloody Christmas. Um, this is a mixed bag for me. I actually have more pros listed than I do cons, but the cons that I have are pretty significant. They're pretty big. So just kind of know that going into it. But let's start with the things I liked about the movie, the pros. This movie, I will say, has a lot, and I mean a lot of Christmas atmosphere and decor. Between obviously the Santa Claus, the killer Santa Claus, you got a toy store, you got Christmas lights all over the place, all over this town that they're in, and you got snow falling throughout the movie. So it kind of checks all the boxes that you might be looking for when it comes to a Christmas horror movie. And it's really throughout the entire movie. It definitely doesn't let you forget what time of the year this movie takes place in. So it definitely helps ring in the Christmas vibes for horror movie lovers out there. I do think the movie has a really cool looking color palette throughout, with different scenes bringing out different color backgrounds and just colorful palettes going on from green to red to purple or violet. Overall, it's a really nice looking, easy on the eyes kind of watch because of the cinematography and those different color palettes throughout the movie. I really do like the score and the soundtrack to this movie. Almost has like a sort of a techno suspenseful kind of score throughout the movie that really works for the movie, especially given the type of killer that you have in this movie being a robotic sort of technological Santa Claus, killer Santa Claus. So the techno kind of suspenseful score really plays well in this movie. So I really enjoyed that. I think the last 15 or 20 minutes of this movie are really intense. I was definitely really into it. As the Terminator type Santa Claus keeps coming back again and again, really kicking ass throughout the entire movie. So yeah, it's really intense. The last 15 minutes, I would say, you're not quite sure how it's going to go. But I also think the look of the robotic Santa is really well done. It's really good, especially towards the end when he's all beat to hell and he's like short circuiting. You got sparks flying off of him, and he's basically stripped down to his um like a skeletal robotic body, if you want to say robotic skeletal shell. I think that look makes for a very menacing and creepy look as the movie goes on. So that really worked for me. And then I thought the effects are pretty solid in this movie, especially some of the makeup and gore effects are pretty well done. Um, And the movie does have a pretty interesting premise as well, one that is especially relevant to today when a lot of people are talking about AI and stuff. With having these robotic Santa Clauses invented by um, the U.S. Defense Department. Um, it definitely is very relevant to today. These Santa Clauses going haywire and the horror that comes from that. Humans putting so much trust and faith into technology once again is the theme here, and I think it's fairly effective in its execution. Although I think the premise is more interesting than the execution, but we'll get into that with my cons. And then finally, I'll say that there's some pretty decent kills in this movie. It's not quite as to the level that I was hoping for, that I wanted, but it has a fair amount of blood and gore based on those kills. And some of the kills are really good, especially when people are getting split or heads are being squashed and things like that. So they definitely have some fun with the kills. And most of it is practically done, I should say, too, which is obviously a plus. So yeah, those are my pros for the 2022 Shudder Original Christmas Bloody Christmas. As far as getting into cons, this might be more of a me thing. I'm not really sure. It probably is. The biggest problem with this movie for me is the writing and especially the dialogue from the characters. I thought it was atrocious, especially in the first 40 to 45 minutes of the movie, before we really get any of the Santa Claus going on a killing spree moments. You're forced to spend time with these characters, and oh god, it's just, I swear Rob Zombie must have wrote this movie because there's so much profanity, and it isn't profanity like an F bomb here or an F bomb there, here an F bomb, there an F bomb, everywhere an F bomb. That's basically what this movie is. Like, characters are having conversations that have more F bomb words in it than it does any other relevant words that they're trying to get across. And I don't know, that's just not for me, to be honest with you. It's probably why I only like a couple of Rob Zombie's movies. I know some people probably get off on countless profanity every other word and stuff. And I don't know. I don't, all my friends and family, we don't talk like that. I mean, that's not to say people don't drop F bombs, because they certainly do. I do. I've dropped them on my channel here. It's not that I'm a prude or anything. It's just that when your entire conversation is fuck this and, fuck that and motherfucker. And I mean, and nobody's being killed at this point. It's just, they're just having conversations. I mean, it's just unnecessary, and it just doesn't work for me. Like I said, I could have sworn Rob Zombie wrote this movie, but I looked, he didn't. So that might just be a me thing. I thought it was a slog to get through the first 40 to 45 minutes with these characters and their crappy written dialogue. And on that point, as a result, I really didn't care for any of the characters in this movie. Therefore, I wasn't all that invested or affected when the Terminator Santa basically takes most of them out. A lot of that has to do with the way the characters are written, especially the dialogue. Because when all you're doing is dropping f bombs, even if you mean well, it just makes me not like your characters. I'm sorry, they're just like the characters from Rob Zombie movies, and that was really my biggest problem with this movie. The main characters of Tori and Robbie. I mean, again, it's just they dropped more f bombs than any. I think they were trying to go for a record for f bombs dropped in a movie, any kind of movie, and that just doesn't do it for me. Again, it's not that I expect the movies to be PG without f bombs, but have them be relevant to the story. Like when Tori's being stalked by this killer Santa Claus, then have her say "oh fuck" or start dropping them then. But when you're just having a basic conversation at a bar and stuff, I don't know, man. It's just not for me. It just doesn't work for me, and it definitely hinders this movie quite a bit for me. And like I said, the characters as a result, I really didn't care about. I almost felt that they were trying a little too hard with this movie as well, with some of the Christmas decor. Even though this movie does have a lot of Christmas decor, as I said in my pro, so if you're looking for that in your horror Christmas movies, this movie definitely has it. But like the neighbor's house, for example, like early on to midway through the film, it looks like a clown house or something. It actually looks like something out of an animated movie or a short. It's so over the top. I've never seen a house in real life that's decorated like that with these specific colors, with every square inch colored. And it kind of reeks of desperation and forcefulness almost. And so I have to call that out a little bit. Very cartoonish. I and there's also scenes, like I said, there's snow throughout the movie, and for the most part, it looks good, like real snow. But there's some scenes they might push the snow too much, where the authenticity of the snow is a little hard to buy, and it comes across with what it probably was, which was like confetti. That was kind of noticeable to me in certain scenes more than others. So I wanted to point that out. And then I have to say the movie has pacing issues, especially between the first half and the second half of the movie. It just doesn't feel quite as cohesive and put together, in my opinion, as it could have been. And yeah, especially the first half of the movie. The second half of the movie, I definitely liked more once we actually got into the horror elements and once the characters started saying less because they were either dying or they were either running for their lives. This is a movie that I have to say, too, I almost think this would have worked better as like a short film or a short on YouTube or something. It doesn't, it kind of seems like that, like a killer Santa Claus attacking these young people, like something you could have had in a 20-minute short or something. But because it's a full length movie, about 90 minutes or so, we've got a lot of dialogue. And like I said, the way the dialogue's written with all the profanity in this movie, and there's also drug use and sex, which I'm less offended by those things. It's not too terribly over the top. It's just kind of there, something that these characters do. But the profanity was bugging me, man. But yeah, I don't know, guys. It's a mixed bag. I mean, I'll keep it in my collection. This is probably going to be an every other year Christmas horror watch for me. It's certainly not on the level of a Black Christmas 1974, or even a P2. Um, it's good. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I have my problems with it, especially the writing. Um, but there's a lot of Christmas atmosphere. Like I said, the kills are good. I really like the killer Santa. And I like the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie, and the score as well is definitely a highlight of this movie. So 6.5 out of 10 for Christmas Bloody Christmas from 2022, the Shudder original. Go ahead and comment down below if you guys have seen this movie, what your thoughts are on it. Do you like it more than I do, less than I do? Why not? Is it a me thing when it comes to the dialogue and the profanity? Like I said, I don't care what you guys think, but I'm not a prude. I definitely drop my share of f bombs, but I just don't. Just having random conversations and some of the profanity, it just doesn't happen in real life. At least not for me. So maybe it does for other people. I'm sure it does. But 6.5 out of 10. Please like this video. Hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this series, as we're almost to the end of December. Hard to believe. Please subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss any of my great horror content, not only the rest of this series, but the first 6 months of 2024 that I already have planned out, and will have a short video around New Year's Day to kind of introduce that and preview what the first half of the year looks like next year. So with that being said, Merry Christmas to everybody that celebrates as we're on Christmas Eve here. I hope everybody's enjoying this series and enjoyed this particular review. If you're somebody that really loves this movie, I saw a lot of reviews that people really love Christmas Bloody Christmas. That's great. I could definitely see some good things about this movie. I just, for me, it just didn't work on a complete execution level, and especially the writing and the dialogue. That's what really took away from me, and a couple other little things here. But I'd be interested to hear what other people have to say. But with that being said, I hope everybody has a good holiday season, continues to have a good holiday season, and of course, stay scared. Bye.